Well, my Suburban has a new neighbor. You guys know that Suburban, but you haven't met this one yet. This is my 1985 K20 Suburban. You'll see here it was originally a diesel. More on that in a bit, but it's an 8-lug, so Dana 44 front, and this one has a semi-floater in the rear. Some of these could have came with a full floater, but yeah, another 8-lug Suburban. This one has barn doors, and it's loaded up with stuff. I'm actually going to donate some... Oh, that focus is not good. Actually going to donate some clothes right now. So using all its cargo capacity, but yep. Barn doors on this one. No tailgate. Pretty clean truck. I bought it from a guy who had it for about 30 years before me. Usually these things are rotted out. They have no rockers. They're just usually very rusty, so I was very excited when I found a clean one. Probably could have picked a better day to film this video, but life has been crazy. So I posted an acceleration video of this guy, but never actually showed you guys what it was. So yeah, pretty clean. It's red. It's very red. Red everywhere. Obviously needs a bit of cosmetics, you know, little minor things, but it's a 1985. What do you expect? The coolest part about this truck, though, is right here. It has an NV4500 swapped in. The older gentleman who had it before me really always wanted a stick shift in one of these. And they came with a 4-speed, they came with a 3-speed manual or a 4-speed manual, but neither of which had overdrive, which is not exactly ideal, especially out west. Speed limits are 80 out here, so overdrive is a necessity. So yeah, I picked this up about 3 months ago, but I just got it here about a month ago. There's a story behind that. So if you ever had an old Chevy, you know what that was all about. So nothing too crazy here, just a small block Chevy. Has an Edelbrock 600 carb, Edelbrock Performer intake. This is actually a 10-to-1 compression roller cam, and it's brand new. Well, remanufactured, I should say. So I bought this from an older gentleman. Thought nothing of it. Went to go drive it home, and cylinder 3 decided it didn't have compression anymore. So what I thought would be an easy project, you know, famous last words, this will be an easy project. I'll clean up the interior, just enjoy driving an old Suburban. Well, that turned into an engine swap. But more on that in another video. Let's get this thing a cold start and give it its maiden voyage out in the snow. Carbureted, so a couple pumps. Fires right up. Smooth, I mean, no vibrations. The exhaust is pretty cool on here. It's got 2 Flowmaster mufflers, but they're true duals. Long tube headers. True duals. So being an original diesel 2500, 40-gallon gas tank, obviously those heavy duty axles, quite a few leaks in there, but I'm telling you, no rust on this thing. These things are normally rot boxes. I mean, that's what really attracted me to it. I hadn't seen one with so little rust, and if I did, it was a 2-wheel drive. You know, in California there's a lot of 2-wheel drive half tons. A 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive with no rust. Plus I thought it was a misprint, but NV4500 5-speed. So if you're new to these, or you know, you might not be new to these. These are in GM full-size trucks from 89, I want to say. maybe 90. Someone will correct me. Actually, maybe, you know what? I'm going to correct me. 93 is the first year I think they got the NV4500 5-speed. It had a lower first gear in the 93 and 94. And then this was also in Dodges. Cummins had these. The V10s had this transmission. It's definitely a truck transmission. First is extremely low. You can only get up to around 15, 20 miles an hour at redline. So second is really like first. I usually start in second, as I'll show you guys in the drive here. But yeah, so why did I pick up another Suburban? Well, I had one of these growing up. We had a black and white two-tone square body, and I absolutely loved it. And I've been looking for one for quite some time, and they're normally outrageous prices now. You normally can't find these things for, let's just say you could buy one 10 years old for the same price you could buy one of these for, which kind of limited the appeal in my opinion. So just let it get warmed up a little here. Driving this thing on the choke is no fun. It's an electric choke, or I'd turn it down. But yeah, pretty straightforward. Heat works. It has the original R12 air conditioning, which is I did not hook up when I put the new engine in. Has a brake controller. This is where the original radio would go. It's been relocated to here. It's just down here was always a pain to use. And the passenger couldn't do anything about it, but pretty cool. Bench seat in the front, and then split rear. It does not have the third row seat. It originally did. It originally had air conditioning in the back too. So this was a very well equipped truck. Here, let me, it's a little too dark, but I'll get a picture up of the RPO codes. So this has 410s from the factory, and the G80, the locker that GM's still putting in vehicles to this day. 40-gallon gas tank. The cool part about it originally being a diesel is it's emissions exempt. Even for you, John, out there in California, this thing would be emissions exempt. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, everything works. Like I said, besides the air conditioning, which I'd have to convert anyway. I don't have a connection for R12 anymore. I did at one point, but let's get the defrosters going. And then we're going to take this thing for a drive. Yeah, without further ado, let's get this thing on the road. So, I'll just show you guys what first gear feels like. So, first gear is extremely short. I'm not even letting off the gas. I'm not even getting on the gas, I should say. You can just let off the clutch and crawl at 1 mile an hour. I'm not in low. This is off the clutch in first gear. That's how, yeah, this gearing is not exactly, I mean, you guys can probably hear it. At what, 10 miles an hour? You're already feeling like you should shift. So I'm just going to start in second. That's normally what I do anyway. Yeah. Let's take this thing for a little spin here. Pretty cool driving a 5-speed Suburban. I'll tell you what. This was kind of like a childhood dream of mine, was putting an NV4500 in a Suburban. So when I saw it on Facebook Marketplace at 11 at night, you know, I was there the next morning at 6 in the morning. So yeah, that's starting in second. That's third. And now we're going into fourth. But you can tell this thing runs awesome. I mean, really, for a carburetor, the low end power is really great. There are no flat spots. I'm very impressed, and it may be because it is a higher compression roller cam 350. It's actually a marine application. It was a Jasper remanufactured engine intended for marine use. part of the reason we went with that is, again, because this thing is emissions exempt, 1. 2, I wanted a roller cam. I was originally going to swap in a Vortec engine, but that would have required an electric fuel pump, would have required a different intake manifold, a couple other things. So yeah, I decided to keep it carbureted and stick with the 350. I thought about LS swapping it. I really did. I mean, you guys have seen my Firebirds. I'm no stranger to the LS platform. I love it, actually. And my other Suburban's a 6-liter. It's an LQ4 with a 4L80. I love the LS, and I just hadn't had a small block Chevy in a long time, and I kind of wanted to keep this thing period correct, since it is so original. It's not lifted, you know, it doesn't have any crazy modifications. Even this 5-speed is from a 2006 GMC that had 19,000 miles on it. It was from the owner's personal rig. So everything was like pretty original GM. I just didn't really want to, yes, an LS would have been, you know, GM, and I just, you know, I wanted to stick with a carburetor for this one. So I posted a little acceleration short. I'll include a couple other acceleration videos in here. This thing goes pretty freaking good for, I'm impressed with the small block. And again, I think it's because it's a fresh 10-to-1 compression, you know, engine with a properly tuned carb, with the right fuel delivery. On an Edelbrock, if you don't have the fuel pressure right, it really never runs right. And, you know, both Josh and myself took the time to set the timing correctly, which is something very few people do. A lot of people just do it by ear. They never hook up a vacuum gauge. They don't even know what a timing light is. It reminded me of, you know, buying cars when I was younger. I used to buy carbureted cars all the time that would be running poorly, and all it took was about a weekend of screwing around with it, and yeah, you had it running good. So this thing ran great when I got it. You know, the previous owner did not rip me off. I told the guy, and he was amazed. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He had no, you know, it was just dumb luck. Yeah. From disassembling the engine, it looked like the cam went flat. So, just happens, you know. This thing indicates 94,000 miles, and this is only a 5-digit odometer. So, you know, who knows how many miles were on the 350 that was in here, since it didn't originally have a 350. But yeah, just figured I'd show you guys a little driving. It is snowing pretty hard, so I'm probably going to focus on the road here. I just wanted to get a video up for you guys so you could see what that acceleration video is all about. So I'm in 4th, going into 5th. I mean, overdrive is awesome. This thing revs, you know, if you keep it at, you know, under 75, it's at around 2,200 RPM. Once you get up to 80, 85, it's at around 2,500 RPM, which again is still not bad. So pretty cool. There'll be more videos on this. I really wanted to tow it to the lifted van meet, John. I really wanted to tow my tracker with this and show up, but life just kind of got in the way. So we will connect at some point. To all my YouTube followers, if you're in the Salt Lake area, give me a shout out. I go to all the car meets and stuff, so I'm not hard to find. I have pretty recognizable vehicles. So yeah, I'll just do a little acceleration here. Since we got a stoplight, it's only right. You get a stoplight, just have to, you know, exercise your car a little bit. So again, that's in 2nd. So 2nd is 1st gear for all intents and purposes in one of these. So 2nd gear. Well, there's no room to do acceleration, but yep. Drive smooth. I mean, rides, you know, it rides like a truck. The big steering wheel is, you know, definitely characteristic of the time, you know, no airbag, just definitely feels a bit like you're driving a boat in many ways. But yeah, so right now I'm in third gear, which is pretty much second gear, but yeah, torque is great, as you guys can probably hear. Gets right on the secondaries. Really runs strong. Now I'm in fourth. I love it. It's kind of interesting, you know, having a modern transmission in an older platform. It really is an interesting combination, you know, because the only way to get overdrive with these were to get a half ton, which had the R700, which is not a great transmission. I mean, it just has issues. It's very similar to the 4L60. You could drive one for 200,000 miles and nothing will happen, or you could drive one 20 miles and it'll explode. Just that kind of transmission. Just has some weak components. Or the final years of these, the 88 to 91 3/4 tons had the same 4L80 as my 2000 Suburban does. So that's the only way to get overdrive in these. So no way to get manual with overdrive. It's pretty cool. I'm going to focus on the road and update you guys in a little bit. So, I mean, I like to make jokes and, you know, say that carbs suck, and I'm not the biggest fan. I'd much rather have fuel injection, but there is definitely no arguing with the sound of just an old school air cleaner. Definitely sounds good. The throttle response is great. The reason I say carbs suck is because I live at elevation. And even when I went to go take this thing up for a spin up in the mountains here, it doesn't run right. You got to pull over and change the rods and springs, and fuel injection really is better, okay? But there's definitely some charm to an old school carbureted vehicle. That sound of those secondaries opening up, I'm not gonna lie, I wish it didn't sound so good. It would be much better for me. So we're at one more light. We'll give it one more. What's killing a few more dinosaurs, right? Again, I'm not launching it. God, that sounds good. Figured I'd get you guys a better walk around video. You can hear it. Runs really smooth. Body's really clean. Fully warmed up. Clear coat definitely needs a little love, but tell you what, it's a lot of fun. Just driving something this old and simple is really great. You know, everything's mechanical. You recognize everything. Just a lot of fun to drive. I am probably selling it though. I have way too many cars, and I don't know. If I can find a way to keep this one, I'm going to, but my cousin's trying to get into classic cars, and he's been looking for something. He lives in New Jersey. He's been looking for something for a while, and I've got a friend coming out to visit me who was planning on road tripping. He's never really been out west. He was planning on flying in and driving home, and I said, you know what? It would be a pretty epic trip in my squarebody Suburban. Surprise my cousin and give him a classic car of his dreams. I really might do it. If I had kids of my own, I'd do it, but I don't. So, yeah, we'll see. Time will tell on that one, but until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I really appreciate, the love and support for all my weird old cars and how passionate I am about them. I will do a better job of keeping videos up to date. Just life's been pretty crazy. So if there's anything you guys want to see, feel free to let me know in the comments. I love it. So thanks for watching, and really appreciate all the support.